Thank you so much for tuning in to DCRE TV. We have a great interview for you today. Randall, thank you so much for joining me here today, taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you got a lot of important calls coming up, but no, I've always, and I thought about this last night, I've always wanted to get your story on camera, just get you in general on camera. And if you remember, when I first had this idea, like before the pandemic, right when the pandemic started, I reached out to everyone I knew, including you, and I said, hey, I'm doing this camera stuff, and I'm doing this YouTube. And I reached out to you, and you were like, in one of your responses, you were saying, okay, well, when it gets a little bit bigger.
No, I don't remember that part. I don't remember that part.
Honestly, I don't even recall.
You said it respectfully, though. I think you said, or if I ever come out of Chicago, and things, it develops.
Right.
Let you know. Because this was like my first shoot a long time ago. And it was rough.
Right.
And I had a young brother from Chicago, Terrell, come out.
Right.
And Terrell McGee come out and shoot with me in Milwaukee. So I built it up.
Okay.
It's gotten bigger. And now I'm here in Chicago just for business. And I thought to myself, if I'm going and doing business, I might as well stop by. And instead of just meeting you for coffee, guess what? I want to meet you with my video production now.
No, this is fabulous. And congrats on the channels. It looks like it's totally blowing up. So, So congrats to you and your team on that.
Slowly but surely, but thank you so much. But again, I just wanted to get your story because you have an amazing story. And for those that don't know, my background is in appraisal. I met you when I was at CBRE at African American ERG in Dallas, and you were an appraiser, so obviously we connected.
Right.
And I got to know a little bit about your story, and I was like, man, that's an amazing story. And usually if there's somebody like yourself at such a high ranking in the appraisal industry, there's gotta be a great story behind that, man. It's like, it just doesn't happen. So I get a chance, I'm lucky to get the opportunity to interview unicorns like yourself. Respectfully speaking. So if you don't mind just going ahead and introducing yourself to the rest of the world, we can go ahead and start this interview.
Sure. So my name is Randal Dawson. I'm Executive Vice President with CBRE, based in Chicago. I co-lead the litigation practice in the United States and also lead the consulting practice in the Midwest region.
Awesome. So then, that's where you're at now. Now let's go all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
So, how did this all start? And what I like to call this part of the interview, the beginning, is the roots. So you can go as far back as the motherland. You can go to the South. You can go to Kansas. Where you want to start at?
Right. Well, so let's go to Kansas.
Okay. Cool.
So my father was a real estate broker.
Okay.
But he also did appraisals.
Right.
Okay. And he had his own shop because back then, as a person of color, you couldn't work for a predominantly white institution. Okay, so his firm was Buddy Dawson and Sons.
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
So this was, and we weren't even old enough to know anything at the time. So it was just sort of aspirational and Sons at the time. So, and then one of my vivid memories from initially was my father owned a lot of single-family homes, and sort of my job on Saturday was to take this checkbook, receipt book, and then knock on doors and collect the weekly rent. So it'd be $50, $100.
Wow.
and I would go. So in this area, he owned the entire block.
Wow.
So I would just go door to door, and I was probably 11, 12. And one of my first life lessons was that people wouldn't always tell you the truth. Okay, and that was a shocker for me. So I'd go back, and my dad said, "Well, show me your receipt book," and he says, "Well, I haven't collected anything."
Wow.
Okay, so he says, I said, well, they said they didn't have it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he said, so we went back, and then we collected. Okay.
So they saw your young behind, and they said, "Oh, get him out of here."
Yeah. So that was one of my initial memories, and then also he owned some vacant lots, And
What year was this?
oh, this was
In the 50s, 60s?
yeah, and 70s.
In 70, okay. Don't want to age you too much.
Right, you know, and so we'd have those weed whackers,
Okay.
which is what is basically a sickle. Okay, so where you'd have the shovel, there was a blade, right?
All right.
And you just swing it back and forth.
Okay.
So there was no electronic weed whacker, right? This was all manual. So so I said I don't want to do that job, okay, when I grow up, and so that was so that was my introduction to real estate.
That's amazing, man.
And but one of the things that he said is never get into the appraisal business.
He told you that?
Yeah, he absolutely told me that. So it was because back then,
Okay.
people of color couldn't join the appraisal institute.
That's why I'm asking. What year was this? I can't imagine.
So this was, he had told me this in the 70s. Okay, so because he got into the real estate business in the 50s. Okay, 60s, you know, and on. So his experience was that people of color couldn't join the appraisal institute.
I can imagine.
So, and the reason that he was doing appraisals is that there was a section of the city called the Bottoms, and the white appraisers would let him do the bottoms. Okay.
It's always something. It's always something.
Right.
Okay.
So that was his sort of piece of the appraisal business, right?
Yes.
So so fast forward, and the reason that I sort of forgot that story.
Okay.
Okay, but I had moved to Chicago, and I had bought 2 flats, 4 flats.
Hold on. You're fast forwarding. Okay. This is where I need to interject as the interviewer. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Before we get to that part.
Yeah.
So your father was a broker / appraiser.
Right.
Owned some properties and lots in Kansas back in the 60s and 70s,
Yeah.
which is unreal.
Yeah.
We're not talking about California. We're talking about Kansas.
Right.
So what part of Kansas?
Topeka, Kansas.
Topeka, Kansas. Okay,
Right.
cool. Shout out to Topeka.
Yeah.
So then, tell me about your childhood. You grew up with brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So I have 1 older brother.
Okay.
And 2 younger brothers.
Oh, so a family of what? 4 boys?
4 boys.
Awesome.
Okay. So it's a family of 6.
Okay.
Okay.
And you're the only real estate.
Yeah.
You're the only one that followed in your father's footsteps, in a sense.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went to high school in that area.
Yeah. So I went to Highland Park High.
Okay.
Graduated from Highland Park High.
Shout out to Highland Park.
Attended the University of Kansas.
Okay. Awesome.
And then, but the funny story there was that since I was 8, so what our father did on your birthday, he would ask you what you're going to do when you turn 18. You know, you're going to join the service, you're going to go to school, and but you can't stay here.
And I hate to interrupt you, but that was a thing back in the day,
Yeah,
right? That was
yeah,
the thing. Like,
yeah.
you got a few choices,
Yeah.
and one of them is not going to be here.
Right. Yeah.
That has changed nowadays,
Right.
but I got the same talk from my parents, or my mom at least,
Yeah.
when I was growing up. But that was a thing, and
Right.
everybody knew that question was coming.
Right. Right.
So okay, continue.
Yeah. So that was every birthday, right? And it wasn't like, I don't love you, or I don't like you, or anything like that.
Right.
It said you've got to do something. So it's
Sure.
so it's the military, get a job. In Topeka, there was the railroad.
Okay.
There was Goodyear Tire.
Okay.
And there was DuPont.
Okay.
Okay. So you could get a job or you could go to school. Okay. So Army, job,
School. That's
okay.
it.
So but you can't stay here.
Can't stay here.
Okay. So he would make that nudge every birthday for me and my brothers. Okay. And you didn't have an answer. You said okay. Okay. Duly noted, right? And then but the reason that he was partial to the University of Kansas is that my dad, he also coached in the 50s, sort of we'll call it a semi-pro team in Topeka, basketball team.
Oh wow. Okay.
And there was a player that played for the University of Kansas, and I don't know if I can show you the picture.
All right.
If this will mess up but I'll come back to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but it was Wilt Chamberlain. Okay, so
Wait.
this was 1955.
He had Wilt Chamberlain on his semi-pro team.
Right.
In Kansas.
In Kansas. So
Wow.
So Wilt was a student basketball player at the University of Kansas. Okay, so this is before a lot of the NCAA rules.
Okay.
That said that players couldn't play for cash.
Okay.
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 So and the other people on the team worked at the post office, had worked at one of the manufacturing plants, and then they'd all come together and play basketball on a Friday night or a Saturday night, right? And then the players, the coaches, and the refs would all split the gate, because if you remember back in the, so this was before I was born, but this was Jim Crow, right?
Yeah.
So you as a player, you as a black student couldn't attend the games.
Wow.
Okay, so for black people to see Wilt, it was at this semi-pro game, right?
Wow.
So a typical scenario would be Wilt would play for the play for my dad's team on Friday. Players and everyone would split the gate, and then he played for Kansas on Saturday.
That's crazy.
Okay,
It's an amazing story.
so and then the black students couldn't live on campus, so they all lived off campus in the same housing. Okay, so that's a totally different dynamic than the players today living on campus, being treated like kings and queens.
Kings and queens, you know.
Right.
And it's funny because some people have an issue with that, right? And that's their prerogative, but we're kind of owed that type of, privilege because a lot of these schools, that wasn't the case for us back in the day, living on campus, education. We had schools well built for us, so we could get an education.
Right.
So now I think you're seeing more equality. And that's because the money is so big nowadays.
Right.
You have no choice. Then it's kind of just leapfrogged over the NCAA.
Oh, yeah.
And started the NIL. And whether you like it or not, I feel like these athletes, these students,
Absolutely.
in particular the black community,
Right.
This is old. This is old.
Right.
You're mad about a couple million. This is old, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Yeah.
old. So
Right.
I'm glad that students are getting the money that they have nowadays. And Wilt Chamberlain, I'm from Philadelphia. Wilt's from Philly. So that really resonates with me.
Right. So
amazing story.
Yeah. So there wasn't the training tables and all of that there are today. So and I'll show you the picture.
Okay.
I should probably send this to you too.
Oh, yeah. We're going to follow up.
Okay.
Oh, that's his picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's amazing.
So that's obviously Wilt in the center. So this is 1955. And then that's my dad. And then the white guy, his name is Dana Hummer.
Okay.
Now, my middle name is Dana.
Okay.
Okay. And so Dana was an ally before we knew what the word ally meant. Okay.
He was an ally before the ally was an ally.
Right. So my dad would give Dana money to put a down payment on a house or a piece of property that he wanted to buy.
Get out of here.
And then Dana would sign it over to my dad.
Wow.
Okay. And he probably collected a little transaction fee.
For sure.
But that was, again, we're talking 50s and 60s, right?
Wow.
Okay. So that was an ally before.
Oh my gosh.
We had the term
Great
ally.
story.
Right?
Thank you so much.
And that was an ally when it cost you something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now it doesn't really cost you much.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No.
So that was back when it cost you.
Cost you friendships, cost you relationships, cost you job maybe. I mean, being an ally back in the day was not cool.
Right.
Could cost you your life. I mean, that was a thing that happened in Alabama back in the day. So, wow, thanks for Dana. And obviously your dad was felt indebted to him because he named you, or your middle name is Dana too. All right, so fast forward. So college, was a great experience. You majored.
Yeah. So got a degree in general studies.
Okay.
Liberal arts degree.
Okay.
University of Kansas.
Okay. And what was that like? What's it like to be a Jayhawk?
Yeah. Well, that's all I knew.
Okay. Being a Kansas boy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I grew up in Kansas, born in Kansas.
Right.
Grew up in Kansas, attended high school in Kansas.
Okay.
So, and then, since birth, it was, and one of the reasons Wilt went to Kansas was because he wanted to play D1 ball, and that was one of the programs that would accept a black player. Okay.
Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah. So Kentucky didn't even accept.
You serious?
Yeah. So a lot of the powerhouses today didn't accept black players back in the day. And you can go back to ESPN 30 on 30.
Okay.
And they'll sort of tell you that whole story.
Wow.
So
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like if you look at Wilt, you would say,
yeah.
It's a no-brainer here.
Yeah, because people say, well, why did he go to Kansas?
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Of all places.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's where he could play D1. Okay.
Man.
Yeah.
You put Wilt on the court nowadays, millions. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But back in the day, it was such a thing. Somebody with Wilt's talent.
Yeah.
No, can't do it.
Can't do it.
Well, thanks a lot to University of Kansas for giving Wilt that opportunity. And,
sure.
Okay, so then you graduated college. Then what happened?
Moved to, the joke I tell people is that generally when you graduate from high school, it's a kid that moves away. Well, when I graduated from high school, my parents moved to Cincinnati. Okay. So
they were serious. You're not coming back, and we're not even going to be here.
Right.
Okay.
And then my mother worked for HUD.
Okay.
Okay. So we sort of had the real estate sort of
that's awesome.
vibe in the family.
Okay.
So so anyway, so my two younger brothers, my parents moved to Cincinnati.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then I actually ended up getting a job in Ohio working for Kroger's.
For
Kroger.
Oh, the grocery store.
The grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like my first job out of undergrad.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So I was a store manager.
Okay.
Okay. So I did that.
Yeah.
And then I changed jobs. I ended up working for Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers.
Okay. You said the full names. That goes back.
Yeah. So worked for them. Ended up getting promoted up and then getting transferred to Chicago.
Okay.
Okay. And then I started buying some 2 flats, 4 flats.
Okay.
Okay. Once I got to Chicago, and I looked at the qualification. So I was getting appraisals done, and I looked at the qualifications for one of the appraisers. And I said, I could probably do this.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then I also remember that my dad said never go into the appraisal business. Okay. So I ended up making the leap.
Okay.
Okay. And so I applied to like 60 firms
here in Chicago.
Here in Chicago. Got turned down by all of them.
Okay. Not surprised.
Okay. And then the one firm that did hire me said that they wouldn't send me any work, but if I brought in any work, we could do it together, and they trained me, and we split the fee 50-50.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So
don't they know that kind of you probably needed their help in the world the way it was back in the day?
Yeah. Right. So
all right.
So I said, okay. So I went down to the HUD office.
Okay. Smart.
FHA, and talked to the appraisal group there, and said that I wanted to get into the appraisal business, and there was this firm, and on the southwest side of Chicago that said that they hire me, but I need to bring my own work. Well, the people at HUD thought that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
That was my deal.
The setup.
Yeah.
Of course, that's ridiculous.
But they started sending me work.
HUD. Good.
Okay. And so I was probably doing so they were sending me about $10,000 worth of work a week.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. And that's sort of how I started. Okay. So I was doing a lot of REO, foreclosure type properties, and those paid higher fees.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
So they were like $2,500, $1,000 fees, $2,500 fees. So I started, so there were a lot of grocery stores with apartments above, that type of properties. So I did a ton of those.
Okay.
And
you focused mainly in Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, mainly in the suburbs. I didn't really care.
Okay.
Okay. Because I wanted to do just properties all over. And one of the reasons that I got rejected by the 60 firms is that most of them wanted me to work from 31st Street to 95th to Dan Ryan to the lake.
I wonder why.
And I said, well, I'm not from there, okay? And I haven't even been in town that long, so you guys probably know more about it than me.
Right.
Okay? Well, they took exception to that.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, so I started working for this firm on the southwest side of Chicago, and things were going along well. And then after about 6 months, the owner of the firm called me to his office and said, there's something wrong with the accounting on the jobs that you've done. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, you've been getting 50% of the fee.
Okay.
And no one in the firm gets more than 40%. But I said, well, I'm bringing in all of my work.
Right.
He says, well, I said, well, then I owe you money, if that's the deal.
Okay.
I owe you money. He says, no, we'll just go from here.
Okay.
So I said, well, no, let's go check the first file. Okay, so the first job I did, so I grabbed, 5 or 6 files from the first month I was there, and it had his signature, 50% of the fee, and his initials. Okay, signing off on it.
Right. Smart.
Okay, so I said, well, you had signed off.
You've seen this.
Yeah,
you knew this.
Yeah, this is your signature, right?
Right.
He said, yeah. So I said, okay. He said, so I owe you money. So I said, no, I said, I owe you money then. He says, no, we'll just go from here. So I went back to my desk. I pulled out my checkbook, made an estimate of what 10% of the fees were for the last 6 months. Went back to his office, gave him his check, went back to my desk, and packed up my stuff.
Ooh.
You got some big testicles to pull this off, bro.
Okay.
Okay.
And and then I went to another firm.
Wow.
Okay. And then
Brass.
So that was the deal. Okay. And then
Did he say anything?
he was shocked.
Right.
He didn't understand what had happened. He thought I had just gone home.
Okay.
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 But I was done.
You're done. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So because my whole thing is that, my thing is that you cannot cheat me.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You knew what the fee was.
Yeah.
You signed up to it.
Right.
Now you see that I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
And these are under your stipulations when I first got hired. And we
Yeah.
don't know why you stipulated it that way.
Right.
But okay, I went with it, brought my own business, making the money.
Right.
And now you want a little more of that?
Right. So I said no.
Yeah,
So
as well. Good job, man.
And then plus in that 6 months, I had gotten my certified general license.
Okay.
Okay. So I didn't need a signature anymore.
So you could walk.
So I could walk. Okay.
Oh man.
So,
Smooth. Okay.
So that was my main intention.
Right.
Was to get your certified general license. Okay, because otherwise, you're kind of on a sharecropper deal, right?
per deal, Randall. You need to coin that.
So anyway, so I went to the firm and continued to do my thing. And then in the interim, I had applied to the big firms, right? So I had applied to Cushman Wakefield.
Okay.
And so Cushman Wakefield turned me down. Some of the other firms had turned me down. So I initially got turned down by Cushman Wakefield 3 times.
Wow.
And so they initially hired me. So then they eventually hired me.
They eventually hired you, okay.
So they eventually hired me. And I became one of the top producers at Cushman Wakefield and in the Midwest region. I had initially been turned down by CB 3 times too. Okay, so you see a pattern.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they eventually hired me, and then I became one of the top producers at CB. And that's sort of been my career. But one of the thankful things was that going back to the original firm that I had worked for was that I always developed my own business. Okay, which is different than probably 99% of the appraisers in the field. Was that so? I always was. It was going to be a component of what I did was to create a pipeline and qualify the pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then you constantly trying to improve the quality of your pipeline.
Right.
So that's sort of the common theme throughout my career was to constantly improve the quality of your pipeline over time.
Right, and that's something that I have taken to heart as well, and kind of just a lone wolf right now, and that's by my own choice.
Right.
And because I'm trying to source business with individuals. I let my boss know, like, hey, I'm going to Chicago, got my first deal.
Right.
And I just need people to meet me on my own.
Right, right.
And we getting deep. And I feel like my bosses don't understand that. Mm-hmm. They want to come with me, or they want I introduce you to this person, and I know they can. And we should make these visits as robust and these meetings pack as many as you can. And I'll get there. I don't have that many connections, but I feel as a black man, people need to receive me as myself first. You know, and that's what I'm doing here in Chicago. I got a meeting this afternoon, then I got meetings tomorrow, and I prefer to do that. Now, others like to go in packs, and that's fine. And sometimes I go in the pack with them.
Right.
But I'm in a little bit of a different world, and I don't want anyone or anything or anyone to say, oh, he got that because of this introduction, or I put these at, or could he do this? And that's kind of the scrutiny that we live in. And some people don't understand that, even though they're allies. And they go, oh, no, I'll give you all give you my Rolodex. And I will call for it one day, and I will use it. But you gotta understand, starting my career, I need these companies to meet me just one-on-one, solo. After we've done this a few times, then we can start powwowing and going in packs. But it's very important as a black man in my career for me to establish that.
Right.
So I totally get what you're saying.
Right.
We just have a different mindset, and we know that strategy needs to be implemented from day one.
Right, right.
I don't want to be seeing anybody's tag along. When I come into the office, you're meeting me, you're shaking my hand, here's my business card, let's talk. I know the market, I know the deal in and out. And then when I leave, you're comfortable. You know what? I'm going to give Niles a call. Not my boss.
Right.
Right. Not this senior guy I'm working with.
Right.
You're going to give me a call because I have that luxury. But no, I'm not trying to take away from your interview. But
No.
totally get you, dude.
No.
That's a thing. People don't understand that. That's a thing.
Well, and the thing is to do both, right?
Yes. Right.
So you're on a platform. So you leverage the platform.
Right.
Okay. But then you also leverage your brand.
Right.
As part of the platform.
Right.
Okay. And you do both. I mean, it's sort of like, I saw an interview with one of the PGA golfers. Okay. So, part of his platform is the PGA, but then also the second part is leveraging his brand within the PGA. Okay. So all of us need to leverage the platform that we're on, and then leverage our brand to sort of amplify above the platform,
Right.
or alongside the platform.
Right.
Because both can happen.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a brief announcement giving you, the viewers, an opportunity to support this program. If you've enjoyed this type of content, which highlights the achievements of a diverse set of professionals, you can support by clicking on one of the payment app links in the description below. I'm a Black man with a plan who teamed up with another skilled brother, and we've decided that there's not enough stories being shared of successful and progressive diverse individuals. For instance, if you haven't caught on already, I'm from Philly, and if you're from Philly too, see if you can answer these 3 questions. Who was the most popular Black actor from Philly? Okay, who is the most successful and well-known rapper to recently come out of the city of Philadelphia? Last one. Who is the most famous and highest paid comedian to come out of Philly? Now, you didn't even have to be from the city of brotherly love to know the answer to those questions, because anyone that's been paying attention to the American culture for the past decade knows who these fine gentlemen are. And it's a testament to the talent in the city I call home. Now, look, I'm not trying to name drop, although I just did, but it helps provide context for the next set of questions. Check this out. Can you name one minority individual from the city of Philadelphia who has served or currently serving as a chairman or CEO of a Fortune 500 company? Who is the most successful minority banker, venture capitalist, and or entrepreneur to come out of Philly? Currently, who is considered one of the most distinguished minority educators, lawyers, accountants, doctors, or my personal favorite, commercial real estate developer in the city of Philadelphia? Don't know why, I don't know either, but I'm on a mission to find these individuals, interview them, and ensure that we all know who's who going forward. Okay, now that you get my drift, here's your opportunity to support the ongoing efforts to highlight a diverse set of professionals and to inspire the next generation. Eventually, we're looking to go across the country to speak with you or someone you know at the top of their game in their respective industry and has significant community involvement. Please contact me on LinkedIn right now. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for the latest videos on this channel. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the video.
Okay, so then going back to your career, so man, that's an amazing feat. So you, Cushman and CB. So let's talk about CBRE.
Okay.
You've been here for how many years now?
Rolling on 17.
17 years. And what's it been like? You're an executive vice president?
Yeah. So CB has been good.
Okay. Obviously, you've been there 17.
Yeah.
If they treated you wrong, you would.
No. CB's a great organization.
Okay.
Okay. And it's recognizing that it needs to evolve. Okay. And it has evolved. Since I've been here. And one of my tenets is that no idea is a good idea forever. Okay. So CB year 1 is different than CB year 5. It's different than 10, 15, and going on. Right. So I think, and I think that's true for people within the organization. Okay, is that you need to evolve too.
Right.
Okay, as the organization evolves. Okay.
Right.
So what was good enough year 1 is probably not going to be good enough year 5, definitely not going to be good enough year 10.
Right.
So, and organizations recognize that, and individuals need to recognize that. So, when I talk to people that are getting started in the business, I said, one of the questions I ask them is, what are you going to stop doing that you're doing? And what are you going to start doing?
Right.
That you're not doing?
Okay.
Okay. And, on an annual basis, you need to sort of evaluate, what do I need to add, to my skill set that's not part of my skill set.
Right.
And also thinking about the overall market.
Right.
Okay. How is commercial real estate changing over the last 3-5 years? How do you think it's going to change over the next 3-5 years?
Okay.
And what can you do to position yourself to maximize yourself for the organization? And because the organization is thinking about that too.
Okay.
And they're going to be doing that too. So,
Okay.
So part of it is, and you don't have to do this in a vacuum. I mean, talk to your leadership team, okay, and the broader platform of what do you see changing? What skills can I sort of build up
Right.
Over the next 12 months
Right.
to make myself more valuable
Right.
to the organization and to the industry
Right.
at large.
Okay, so outside of CBRE, let's go to Appraisal Institute,
Okay.
appraisal industry just in general.
Okay.
You've been in the game for a while. How many Black or African American appraisers are there? You don't have to give me a concrete number, but let's give it a roundabout estimate, like 2% of the industry is maybe African American?
Well, I saw a statistic, and it said that Blacks in the commercial, appraisers in the commercial real estate industry are less than 1%. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I think the stat they use is that there are fewer Black commercial appraisers than there are farmers. Okay. So
That's a good stat.
okay. So
Things that make you go,
So there, percentage-wise, there are more partners in majority white law firms, accounting firms, consulting firms.
Right.
Okay, so there's very few.
So your majority Black partners,
Yeah,
okay, at these traditional professional service companies.
right.
Okay. There's more Black partners at those industries than there are just appraisers in the industry, not even partners. We're talking about just active participants.
Exactly.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. And why do you think there's so, I mean, I know we kind of all can assume why, but I would love to hear your take on why so little
Well, I think
for so long.
yeah, I think that it's sort of a stealth industry.
For sure.
Okay, so
Sure.
if you don't know someone in the industry, it's hard to hear about it.
Right.
So I think that's the one challenge.
Okay.
I think that the people that use appraisal services, they need to say, when you're pitching me for business,
Yes.
okay, well, just say I would like to use firms that reflect my employee base and my customer base.
And the communities that you're working in. Yes.
Yeah, and the communities, right?
Right.
Okay. So, and I did a panel discussion for the Federal Reserve,
Right. I remember.
and one of the questions they asked was, well, what can we do to increase diversity in the appraisal industry? I said, start with your appraisal departments and your banks. Okay, look at the diversity of those groups.
Right.
Okay, and increase the diversity of those groups.
Lead the way.
Okay, because appraisal, like the commercial real estate business in general, is sort of the buddy business, all right? So people help people they know. They don't help people that they don't know.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Friends and family for sure.
Yeah. So start there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you, because, dude, I don't know. Is there another you at any other brokerage firm?
I don't know of anyone. I don't want to call names.
Okay.
But I don't know of anyone that has a similar position to me at any of the other major.
At the major brokerage shops, that's the difference. There are some guys doing solo things. They have
Right.
their own shop, and congratulations to them.
Right.
But not many that are in your position at such a high level. It's such a prestigious firm like CBRE, one of the
Right.
biggest and baddest in the industry.
Right.
So, okay. Now we analyzed appraisal. For those watching, they're probably seeing the first professional, high-ranking appraisal official
Yeah.
of African American descent. What would you say to those that might be interested in breaking into the industry and or had never heard of appraisal? What would you say to them as far as what the appraisal industry is all about?
I would tell them to reach out to go to LinkedIn, okay, and reach out to people that that are in the appraisal industry that attended your alma mater. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. And use and leverage that network. Okay. And say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about the appraisal industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, how can I get an interview?
Yes.
Okay.
That is.
So that was, and because I think people need to leverage their networks. Okay. And especially from their alma mater.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yes. Because if you can't connect with someone on just a cultural basis or just familial basis,
Yeah.
those almas,
Right.
that alma mater,
Right.
runs deep in some people's veins.
Right.
And that is a great way to connect with someone that you don't know.
Right.
As long as they know you went to tech or state or uni.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, they'll have a conversation with you and give you a good look. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. And then the second, if they're not in the appraisal business, but they're going to be in the commercial real estate business, because I think just about every school has somebody.
Right.
Okay.
For sure.
Connect with those people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think the second thing that I would do is contact the Appraisal Institute, okay, in whatever community that you're in, because there are job boards at every chapter, okay, and people are always looking for people,
Right.
okay, and recognize that your first job isn't supposed to be your last job,
Yes.
but basically what you're trying to do is get in.
Right.
Okay, and get your license working for whatever firm, okay, and then, and it's totally okay to move from one firm to the next firm.
Yes.
Okay, but just sort of get in, learn the ropes initially, and then move on to other firms if that's what you choose to do, or you may settle in, you may decide to start your own firm.
Right. Right.
Okay, but acquire a certain specialty.
Right.
Okay, certain expertise, and then from the Appraisal Institute standpoint, I would attend Appraisal Institute events. Okay, and so that people get to know you.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things that I did.
Yes.
Was again, I said it before. People help people they know. They don't help people they don't know. So allow people to get to know you.
Right. Exactly.
And sort of be active, and for whatever organizations you do decide to join, join a committee in those organizations.
Okay.
Okay, just don't pay the fee.
Right.
Okay, join a committee.
Right.
And it doesn't matter which committee, whatever interests you, join a committee, be active, because that will do is it will make the organization that you joined a lot smaller.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and then you get to know people really sort of one-on-one.
Okay.
And they may not be able to offer you a job, but they may hear of someone else that is looking for someone.
Okay.
And they'll say, hey, I know someone.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So,
That makes
again,
perfect sense.
yeah.
Yeah. So then we looked at the job, employer, CBRE, we looked at the Appraisal Institute, your background, how to break in, how to maintain momentum with different employers in the industry. And I would say for myself, and I'm not going to go into a long rant, but that's where I got my start.
Right.
Is in appraisal. And I did that for 3 years.
Right.
Right. And that's not I don't want to say that, but I would say I was in grad school as well. So I'll preface it by saying that not many graduate students at some of the top schools go into appraisal, right?
Right.
They're all looking to get into private equity ASAP, right? I knew from where I was coming from, and here's a theme for people of our descent, you have to be very strategic.
Right.
And I knew that private equity thing was not, I didn't even know what private equity was when I first got in, but or development or brokerage. So I wanted to, but I wanted to learn the fundamentals. And I'm
Right.
gonna keep this short. I wanted to learn the fundamentals, and I saw that appraisal when I got exposure through grad school to the real estate industry. I saw that appraisal. I was like, oh, I could take that experience and expertise anywhere across all
Absolutely.
these different
Absolutely.
verticals.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what I did. I did
Oh, yeah.
3 years, finished grad school, and then I joined the company I'm at now, working on their debt and equity transactions.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that they were comfortable hiring me because I had that appraisal experience at a shop like CBRE. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't a clear shot. I didn't
Right.
know anybody. I didn't parachute into a program,
Right.
or I kind of had to really climb the mountain and get to where I'm at now. But
Right.
you have to be very strategic. And appraisal is probably one of the best launching pads
Oh, yeah.
in the industry for those that don't have the relationships and the connections
Oh, yeah.
that others
Oh,
have.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because what you'll find is that you'll find people that somehow they started in appraisal and they went into brokerage, they went into capital markets.
Yeah.
They went into debt and equity. They went into a variety of sectors within the commercial real estate industry.
Right.
And the key thing is just to get in.
Right.
Okay, and then once you're in, you can decide where you want to pivot.
Exactly.
Okay, but at first, just get
Get in.
just get in. Okay.
Yeah.
And then because one of the things that I tell people, once, regardless of what sector or niche they get into the commercial real estate industry in, that they should talk to other people in other sectors.
For sure.
Okay, to see what it is that they do. Okay, because very few people got into the industry knowing all the facets.
Right.
I mean, because CBRE, we have 110,000 employees worldwide. Okay, so there are a lot of different jobs.
Yes.
Okay, and there's no way to know those jobs. I've been here 17 years, and I'm still learning of different career paths.
Right.
Okay, so no, just get in, meet people, be sociable, and just sort of, learn more about the industry, because, and it may not benefit you per se, okay, but it may benefit someone else.
Sure.
Okay, again, your friends and family.
Yeah.
They may say, well, I don't want to do what you do,
Right.
but they say, well, you could say to them, well, maybe there's this capital markets career
Yeah.
that you'd be interested in. Or
Capital
maybe-
markets, project management, property management,
Yeah.
consulting. There's so much
Right.
that hasn't been exposed. Okay, so let's go into, what time is it now? Okay, I got 3 minutes. All right, so let's go into the more leisurely part of your life. So you are an avid chef.
I wouldn't. That would be too far. But what I do like to do is grill.
Okay, cool,
Okay.
cool.
So I have 3 grills, and I have a smoker, and one of the things I like to do is smoke brisket.
Okay.
And grill.
Okay.
And I'll do meats. I'll do vegetables. I'll do eggplant. And I really sort of, during COVID, okay, we were working from home, so I got really deep into it.
Right, right.
Okay, and took the Weber Pitmaster.
Yeah, I saw that.
3-day
Yeah.
grill class. Okay,
Yeah.
and so I went super deep in that.
Okay.
And that was a bunch of fun.
Wow.
And my wife took the class with me.
Wow.
Okay, so it was, and there were actually a lot of couples taking the Weber classes. So,
And what kind of charcoal do you use?
so I use Jealous Devil.
Okay, Jealous Devil.
Okay, so it's a hardwood
Okay.
charcoal, and I would recommend anyone that's serious about grilling to use hardwood charcoal and not something that we all grew up on.
Okay.
Okay. Not to throw out any names, but yeah, and that's what I use.
Right.
And
And just for the audience's information, we tried to get to your house to get some of that footage of you doing your thing on the grill, but unfortunately, you're currently renovating
Yes.
parts of your house, and
Right.
we're going to get there
Right,
to do
yeah,
that this
yeah.
weekend. But,
Next time.
Next time.
time.
You got it?
Yeah.
You promise?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm coming.
Absolutely. Next
All right, so we're going to get some footage of you on the
Yeah.
grill. So let's talk about I got some rapid fire questions
Okay.
for you before we wrap up. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What about favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Why?
Friends and family.
Okay.
Okay.
Favorite movie?
The Usual Suspects.
The Usual Suspects. Okay. I got
Okay.
you. Yeah. Who's a major actor in that?
Kevin Spacey.
Okay. Kevin Spacey. All right.
Yeah.
He's a classic.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song? Do you have like an anthem or just a chill song that you like to listen
Fight
to?
the Power.
Oh! We're going to put a big graphic of the Public Enemy when that pops up, man.
Fight the Power.
And your favorite sports team? You're from Kansas, but are you like a Chicago guy now? What's your favorite sports team?
Kansas City Royals, Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, right,
Okay.
of course, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Kansas
you
City.
love Mahomes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
that's your
do.
guy.
I do.
Okay. And then, who are the most influential people in your life? You can give like one or two.
I would say my father was probably the most influential, one of the most influential people in my life.
Yes, for sure.
I'd say my grandfather,
Wow. Okay.
just because he was just a hardworking guy, and went to work every day.
Yeah.
And just to provide for his family.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so-
what resonates with me. I see. And then I guess just to cool it down, are you listening to any podcasts or reading any books of
Books I'm currently reading, Alive.
Live? Okay, never heard.
Oh, no, it's called Outlive.
Outlive. Okay.
Okay, Outlive. Currently reading that. Also reading Seneca. Okay, on the shortness of life.
Okay. Taking notes.
Actually read that every year. Okay, so I read that for the last 30 years, probably.
Wow.
And the theme of the book is that, life isn't too short, but people waste time. Okay, so, don't waste time.
Okay.
Okay, or cut it down.
Okay. Cool. And then I guess my last question. Let's we're in Chicago.
Okay.
And you've been here for a long time,
Yeah.
man. So, a Kansas boy coming to Chicago. I'm sure there's plenty of guys from Kansas and the surrounding area in the Midwest that have lived here in Chicago. What do you love about Chicago as a visitor of the Chi? What do you suggest that I do? Like, give me some insight to your perspective on Chicago food, sports, culture, and like cool things to do down here.
Okay, well, love Chicago because it's a bootstrap city. Okay, you don't have to have come from a certain pedigree.
Okay.
You can make it here.
Wow.
Okay. One thing I tell everyone to do when they come is do the architectural tour
Okay.
of the city, and then I'd say get involved. Okay, get involved in the cultural aspects of the city. Okay, go to the art museum.
Is that something that you like to do when you're here in Chicago?
Yeah.
Are you an avid
Yeah.
museum goer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you root for as far as sports, baseball wise?
I root for both the Cubs and the White Sox.
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, because I'm a Royals fan.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
So no, I'm for both teams.
Okay.
Okay. I'm also for the Blackhawks. I'm also for the Bears.
Okay. Can't help
Okay.
it.
I'm also for the Chicago Sky.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm for all of the teams that are based here.
Okay.
Okay. And
What was your favorite restaurant in Chicago? Do you have a fave?
that's a great question. There are a ton of
Okay.
restaurants. Actually, my favorite is the Tortoise Club.
Tortoise Club.
Okay, so and it's probably because it's close.
Okay.
Okay, to the office, but that is probably my favorite club to restaurant to go to.
The tour special. All right. Well, Randal, thank you so much, man.
Sure.
I appreciate it. I know we took up a lot of your time. You got a busy day today. As you told me earlier, you're always on the move, always connected with individuals. But I'm glad you got a chance to time out of your busy schedule to connect with me. For those who don't know, I look at you as a mentor. You flew out to Philadelphia when I asked you to be on a panel discussion. This was before the pandemic, about diversity, D&I. And I was an appraiser at the time as well. And you flew out to Philly from Chicago to be on that panel. We have that on video if anybody wants to view it. But you've always been a helpful hand to me and inspiration to me as well. Your story my story kind of mimics your story, just at a more junior phase in my career. But I look at you and seeing you at the top of your game at a huge brokerage like this makes you want to ascend to the top, man. So I appreciate
I'm just appreciate you doing what you do and sharing it with a larger audience.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to
I'm gonna make sure that we got together and drink something. All right, thank you.